Just the word code can sound scary to some people, but Claude Code may just be the easiest and one of the best ways to make a website or an app right now. This video is sponsored by them. They wanted me to share exactly how I use Claude Code and how easy it is for anyone else to use it as well. For some context, I also find code very scary. I'm not a programmer, coder, developer or anything like that. I am actually a designer. I have a design background, but Claude Code for me has pretty much completely changed my life because it's let me do things that I otherwise wouldn't have been able to do. So to get started, the only thing you're going to need is the Claude app. We're going to be doing everything in there. You don't need to be messing around with the terminal, don't need to be messing around with any code editors or anything like that. The Claude app itself can do everything that you want it to do pretty much. When you first launch the Claude app, you're going to see the chat, but we're actually going to be going over to the code function here. And this is where we're going to be building and making stuff. When you have this open, you want to make sure obviously you're in a new session. And then down here, we're going to choose local. So it's going to run on our machine. And then we're going to click here and then you can choose any folder on your machine and all of the stuff that you work on, all the stuff that we're going to build is going to be contained in that folder. For the model we're going to use with Claude Code, it's going to be Opus 4.8 because it is incredible. It pretty much does everything that I needed it to. It can pretty much build everything that I want it to do, design the way I want it to design. It's just unbelievably capable. We'll first start off with a couple of easy demos just for people to understand how quickly you can build things. And then later on in the video, I'm actually going to show you some actual things that I've built and then actually show you how I'm changing some of the parts that I've built, refining things with Claude Code. So let's start off super basic. I've put in a prompt here, build me a minimalist to-do app. It should have a card-based design, an option to tick off items, strike through any completed items, and automatically move them to the bottom and show me a preview. So let's hit enter and let's see what it does. And there we go. It has built our to-do app and it's also shown me a preview all in this one window. I've not had to do anything. It's just done it all. It really feels like magic when you do something like this. However, it's made it into a HTML file, but I want it as an app. So I'm just going to ask it, instead of HTML, can you turn this into an app and show it in the preview? Okay, so a couple of minutes later, it's now turned it into an app. We can see here what it's done, and then I've asked it to run the dev server for me. It's told me that it's available at localhost, but I want it to show up in here, so that's what I've done. I've asked it, can you show me the preview within the Claude preview panel? And now it's done that. And now we have an actual preview. And we can see here, this is an actual working app. So I can tick something and it can automatically be moved to the bottom of the list as I requested. I can also add something like, make sure to pick up flowers for mum or mother or something like that. And it will add that task in there as well. And that's it. It literally feels like magic. Within 5 or 10 minutes, we have an actual app that works and we can actually start publishing this now. So we can take it a step further, ask Claude to upload it to GitHub or a server or something like that and have it living there. I'm not going to demonstrate that in this video. I just wanted to quickly show you what you can build just to get started so you can see what's possible. Let's go with a fresh new session and do something a bit more complex. So I'm giving it a basic prompt here and I just want to see what Claude Code can deliver. So build me a dark themed World Cup website where it shows the live scores of current games, previous scores of previous games, and I want to see flags too. So let's see what it puts together. So it's built something for us. However, there is no live data right now. It's just using sample data that it's made up. And it's made an index.html file, a CSS file, and an app.js file. It has the live games, upcoming games, finished games, and stuff like that. And then we can go through them. So let's actually open that up and see what we've got. So I'm going to right click on here, open in Finder, double click the index.html file, and here is our website. And even I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't expecting it to be this good. I just thought it was going to be quite simple looking, but this looks really, really good. I can also see finished games. I can see the scores of them, round of 16, hover over them, live games. Yeah, this is really good. Upcoming games. And all of the styling, it's done it itself. I've not asked it to do any of the styling here, apart from just saying that I want it a dark theme. Now I could take this a step further and start feeding it live data. We're actually going to ask Claude, where's the best place to get a real free API for the live scores? It's given me 3 different options here and the sort of limitations with each API, and I can just go with whatever I like. So it says best starting point for the first one, most complete data for the second, and the easiest for the last one. And then it gives me its recommendation, which is starting with footballdata.org. Best balance of free, reliable, and easy. So let's do that. Let's make an account with footballdata.org and get the API. So we have the website open here. We're going to get started. Let's make an account. I've now registered and it sent me the API key to my email inbox, which I'm going to get. We're going to go back into Claude and we're going to ask it to write up the sort of script or whatever, the API JSON file. And then I'm also going to tell it that I have the API key. Oh, this is really good actually, because I didn't tell it which API key we went for. It's now asking me. So I don't have to put it in manually. And then it's going to ask me where the API key should live. We're just going to use the third option because we're only testing it locally. So now that it's got everything ready, we can see it's done a few things. And then it says here to go live, add your key and restart. CD, so go into the directory. And then I'm not sure exactly what that is. And then npm start. So this is where, when you get stuck like me, I don't actually know what that means. Like I said, I'm not a developer, so I don't exactly know what it means. I've actually just gone and asked it, I'm confused, how do we do the CP part? Just like a normal person, like I don't know what's going on. But what it's done here is, no problem, CP just means copy a file. So it's explained to me what's exactly happening here, which is so powerful. I would very much advise you do this. If you don't understand how something works or you're trying to understand something, start doing this. Ask Claude to explain things to you. So it's now made a copy of the file. Open the env file and replace your token with your actual footballdata.org key. So this line here becomes something like this. So let's go to our files. So we can just go to right click up here, files, and we can find the .env file and we can paste our key right in here. I'm going to blur this part out obviously because I don't want you guys to see my API key, but we've now put it in and we can hit save. Boom, done. And then to start the website, we simply do npm start. However, I'm just going to be lazy and I'm just going to ask it to do it for me. Can you start the server for me? So when we click this link, boom, we now have our World Cup website with live scores. So we can see live stuff. So obviously currently there are no matches, so there's nothing to show, but it's also showing me the upcoming matches, what times they're at today, tomorrow, over the next week, over the next few days. I can also go back and see the finished scores, so I can see the scores from the last few days as well. So I can see the scores from the beginning all the way to the end. But I want to change this because I don't like how it's showing the latest scores at the bottom. I want the latest scores to be shown at the top. So we're going to go back into Claude and we're going to ask it to change that. Can you show the previous scores in reverse order so we can see the latest at the top? Cool, great. It's now made the change. We can click back into it and we go to finished and we can see our latest scores now showing at the top. It really is amazing how I can just do all of this without me having to mess around with code myself. Now let's tackle an actual project that I'm working on, a live product, a live website, a live app that I've been working on since the beginning of the year, and I've been adding, refining, changing stuff as I've been going along pretty much every week, every month, and it is something called digitalcreatorclub.com. So we've opened it up here in Claude Code. I've been working on it for ages. You can see there's a lot of conversation here, just going through, sort of making changes, refining stuff and adding features as I've been going along. I started the server already. So this is the homepage right now. And there's already a change that I actually want to make to the homepage and want to push it to the live website at some point. So the pricing for this membership website, membership club thing, I've now sold out of 2 tiers. Now I just want to remove the $149 tier. So I'm just going to simply ask it, please now remove the $149 tier row indicator on the homepage. It literally does it live, which is just fantastic. And now it's removed it because I've already sold out of that tier. I only want to show the last tier that I've sold out of, just to show that people are actually buying into the membership, into the club itself. And that was super quick, super easy. There is a lot going on here, because it's pulling data from my database, my Superbase database. It's pulling data from my Stripe as well to see how many people have bought. It's pulling and connecting data from different places and putting them all here. Another change I want to make is to the manuals. So when you go to the manuals page now, you have to have a membership if you want to look at any of the content in here. And I can see here that there is a sort of locked button underneath each of the sort of pieces of content that I have. I don't really like that. I think I can make that look a bit cleaner. I think what I would like actually is a padlock on the thumbnail and then that locked text to be a sort of members only text. So let's do that. Let's get Claude to make that change. So I've asked it here on the manuals page, change the locked text to members only and make it a rounded pill with a dark background. Add a locked icon on top of the thumbnail and put it top left. And let's see what it does. So we can see here, it's actually figuring it out by itself. You can see the access page is only used on the course cards, so changes are scoped to the grid. I haven't had to tell it that. It's just figured it out itself, and we can already see it's making those changes now. It's added the members only rounded pills that I wanted. And now we can also see it's added the locked icon in the top left. And I'm actually pretty happy with that. It's exactly what I wanted. And if I wanted to make any further changes, I can as well. So those are just some of the ways you can use Claude Code. It really is phenomenal what you can do. I've just shown you examples of things you can quickly build with it, experiment with things, sort of test things out. And then I've actually used it in a live project, a live thing that actually makes me money. It's part of my business. And that's how I'm using it. I'm using Claude Code every single day to do these sorts of things. This is only one website that I have. I have a bunch of other websites. I have my own personal website. I also have this website here, offultra.com, which I completely built with Claude Code as well. And it's just amazing what you can do with Claude Code. I feel as though the limit of it is really your imagination. You can come up with anything that you like and start building it with Claude Code. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll leave links to everything down in the description below. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter and subscribe for more.